So on Dealer Club, you can describe a car however you want. We give you total flexibility. What we're gonna do today is I'm just gonna walk one of my old Porsches, and it's not a perfect car, it's far from a perfect car. And I'm gonna go around it, I'm gonna point out highlights, lowlights, and just kind of give you the whole picture on this car. And from that, that's what you would take to go and build the content of a condition report if you were to sell the car on Dealer Club. Very subjective, but I'm gonna show you how to look for paintwork, how to describe some modifications on a car. And this Porsche here, it's a great car, but it's like 26 years old. It's got about 45,000 miles on it, so it's not new. We'll just start, I don't know, left front corner here. So when I look at this car, first I like to take the big holistic picture. Look the whole thing over, maybe do a full walk around. I know this car a little bit, I've already done that 100 times. But if we start up front, there are some rock chips on the car that are through the paint. On the bumper, on the hood. Hood looks like it was painted before. I can tell because I got the fluorescent lights coming across, and I can see that there's little dots. That's usually like a chemical reaction from dust in the air when the hood got painted. Not a big deal to me. This is not a concours car, but it is a Porsche. People are gonna wanna know. Could always put a paint meter on it, but I got pretty good eyeballs for finding prior paint. So we'll walk around. We got aftermarket wheels on the car. These are Tech Art wheels. Keep going. Really nothing on the mirror worth mentioning. I believe most of the paint on the body is original. The way I detect that, we look down, kind of what they call the sight line of the car. So probably the right way to do this really is all the way from the back, looking straight down, and you look for any waviness or any inconsistencies in the paint. The other thing I always like to do when I'm looking for paint work is you check the door jambs. So what we're looking for here is a bunch of things actually, but is there a tape line? So is there like a line where somebody put a piece of painter's tape to mask off the interior when they, let's say, sprayed a quarter panel? There's no tape line here. The other thing you'll get like a rough texture. There is not that at all, and the rough texture would be like overspray of clear coat that kind of went dry because it wasn't really being like layered on thick inside the door jamb. There's none of that. There's also no signs of a quarter panel replacement, which would just be maybe like an oddity about how this quarter panel kind of wraps around and is welded or not welded to the inner structure of the car. So that's what we're looking for there. Obviously some basics, VIN tag, we want to make sure that this number matches the one on the dash. A lot of times on cars, this VIN tag is not on the structure of the car so much as it's on the door. And if there's a replacement door, then the VIN tag on the door doesn't match the actual car. So just little stuff to check to not have problems down the line when you actually sell the car. Keep going here. Again, aftermarket wheels. This car is lowered too. It's got an upgraded suspension. I don't expect everybody to know that, but if you just look at the stance of the car's got a pretty mean stance. It sits pretty low. It is definitely down to the ground. We'll keep walking it here. Looks like there's a pretty good little chip right there in the paint. A little scuff on the bumper, but that'll probably buff right out. Not a big deal. Kind of a good practice here is just get low, just look across the roof, looking for any hail damage. There's none. Some of the rubber trim starting to wear and flake off. Very normal in the car. Again, it's almost a 30-year-old car. I'm aging myself. We'll check again for any signs of prior paint. There's nothing here. Everything looks really, really good in that sense. Just looking at the quarter panel, I just love the hips on these cars, these old Porsches. There's nothing like them. Working our way around the front, I know there's one good defect here. It's a pretty good rock chip above this headlight. To me, not like I'm trying to sell this thing to anybody, but I like to drive my cars. I drive them dirty. I don't really care. So it's not a garage queen by any means, so that stuff doesn't matter to me. There's a little bit of rash down here. I probably did that from smashing a pothole or something. But yeah, that's kind of a walk around on the exterior of the car, guys. I mean, we can do a little bit more here. Let's see, we pop the hood, pop the gas door, and the only reason I'm doing this, again, Porsche, kind of a specialty car. You know, it wouldn't matter if so much it was a $4,000 Honda Accord, but we're just looking for any signs of paintwork. There's nothing here. If we come and pop the bonnet, front hood on the car, Porsches, I would hope you guys know this. Engine's in the back. Jumper cables, because I'm too busy, so the thing sits all the time and the battery goes dead. You know, if you want to get a little carried away, doesn't take long. Spare tires in there, tool kits in there, air compressor, got a new battery. Easy stuff to look for. Again, just looking inside everywhere, seeing if there's any signs. Panel replacement, nothing. It's a straight car. We can go to the back where the fun is. This is a pretty special car, actually. It's a bit of a Frankenstein, and it's got about 850 horsepower, 3.8 liter twin turbo. So cams, pistons, crank, huge intercooler. I believe they're called G26 turbos on the thing, T26 turbos. So this car absolutely hauls and probably would not pass emissions in a lot of states, but you know, neither here nor there. Again, I'm not looking to sell it. I'm just giving you guys a walk around of a car. It doesn't grip at all, but if I just so happen to leave this car or any old car like this, if I were selling it on DealerClub, let's say, or anywhere else, start it up, pull it forward, maybe go look at the spot where it's been parked for a couple days and see if there's any oil or anything underneath it. I know this car's dry. And then we got the interior. So what's noteworthy on here? No smells, except it does smell like an old Porsche, which to me is an awesome smell. They all have a unique smell. It's just the leather they use. This one does have sport seats in it. You can tell by the big bolsters on the side, which is pretty cool. Everything else is pretty straightforward in here. One key, not two keys. I'm trying to think what else. If the car had like books and records, of course this one doesn't. I would definitely be showing that. Dash, is it cracked? This one's not. There's really no wear on the seats. Trying to think what else. Headliner, carpets. This car's not much to pick out, which makes my job of describing this car pretty easily. I guess other than that, guys, it's a road test, and I would do some other quick tests on the car, such as all the windows, try and move the seat positions, does the sunroof open and close like it should, turn the AC on, make sure that blasts cold. We're in Florida. This thing's got the coldest air conditioning of any of my cars. It's pretty cool. I'd say that's the nuts and bolts of it. You know, it's funny when car dealers who trust each other talk to other car dealers, like I can describe this car, which again is kind of a Frankenstein of a 26-year-old Porsche. I could describe this to another good car guy and we can do a dealer swap on this thing, no problem. These are the kind of cars that typically fall apart in a conventional CR, condition report, because there's a subjective nature to be able to describe this car. I could definitely go around this car and because of the cosmetic flaws and the modifications to it, could absolutely destroy the value of this car, but clearly this is a special car and it deserves to be represented as such. So, DealerClub works for this. It works for commodity cars too, but we just believe in the fact that you got to be able to call the car for what it is. So I'd say that's a wrap on that, and we'll get some other quick little footage from around the car because it is a cool one.